From the time that we're young, we're bombarded with different political perspectives and ideas, and we're kind of just expected to pick some up to fit in. Oftentimes we're never sat down and taught how to actually think about politics. I mean, what even is the point of politics? How are we even meant to decide what opinions to have? I've come up with 3 core principles which I believe are the bedrock for developing good, productive ideas on politics, which, once you understand them, will completely change the way you see the world. Number 1 is that reason is slave to the passions. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, a few hundred years ago, there was this guy, David Hume, who made a claim that set fire to the way people at the time saw the world. He said that while reason can tell us how the world works, strategies to achieve our goals, and all the facts of the world, ultimately it's passion or feelings that determine all action. For example, a predator might spend years learning all the best ways to catch its prey, mastering manipulation, quick thinking, and physical agility. But ultimately, the reason it's doing this is its passion, or in this case, its desire for its prey, so it can stay alive. But this is arbitrary. There's no objective fact saying we have to stay alive. And we can apply this same principle to politics. Someone can dedicate their life to mastering logic, memorizing facts and statistics, but ultimately this has to be in service of some kind of core value, or axiom as we call it. So what should our axiom be? Well, in my opinion, it should just be happiness. I mean, we already kinda use happiness as a core value ever since we're babies.
I want mommy, I want milk, I want to be held, I want to be comforted.
We want all these things simply because they feel good. And we don't need a logical explanation for this, because there is none. Check out this clip from the Necessary Conversation pod, where Bob, the dad, is asked if governments should make water safe for their people.
Dad, should the government try to make water safe for people in every county in America?
No.
What?
Why not?
The government shouldn't have anything to do with it.
Who should?
Who's going to make it safe?
Huh?
Who's going to make it safe?
The cities and towns that live there.
Those are governments.
Those are government officials.
Well, I thought you meant the federal government.
Yeah.
The federal government supplies money to the local governments so that they can help build infrastructure, technology, whatever they need.
They can raise taxes in the local.
Everybody should have the
Property
right.
tax.
Everybody should have the right
I
to
don't
water.
I don't want my money going to that.
Everyone should have the right to water, food, housing. Yes, yes, yes. We're not that mean.
I agree with Mom. Dad, the whole point of this is that this specific area is very low income. You can't raise property taxes because nobody has property. You can't raise taxes because nobody has money. It doesn't do anything if you do that.
The question.
Then they get to drink the sludge.
So the interesting thing about this video is that he didn't say anything that was technically incorrect. There's no fact or statistic you could show him to prove him wrong. All this shows is that in his completely subjective experience of the world, he doesn't value increasing well-being for other people. And this is reflected in his politics. Number 2 is to understand prescriptivism and descriptivism. Now, this is something you'll probably start noticing a lot after this video, but in my opinion, a huge chunk of political disagreements come from a disagreement on definitions, or what we call semantics. You see, for a long time, people thought of definitions as something objective, oftentimes preordained by a god. They were seen as something to be discovered and described in a dictionary, where any deviation from that definition would be incorrect. Plato even believed in this thing called the world of forms, where somewhere out there is the perfect tree or the perfect cat, and every tree or cat is kind of just an imperfect version of those perfect definitions of those things. So descriptivism remained as pretty much the dominant way of thinking for over 2,000 years, up until this guy named Ludwig Wittgenstein came along. He believed that definitions come not from a god or any kind of dictionary, but how people use them in their everyday life. If one person says a word to another person, and they understand the meaning the same way the speaker intended, then that is what that word means in that context.
What is a woman?
Check out this debate with Charlie Kirk on the definition of woman, and see if you can tell me who is the descriptivist and who is the prescriptivist.
A woman is somebody who presents as our social conception of womanhood.
So
acts in such a way.
So Pixie, just can you answer that question without using the word woman or womanhood?
It's because basically it would be a functional definition. So as a society, we have an understanding of what woman is.
What is that?
Man.
Yeah, that's basically.
I am a man. XY chromosomes.
Okay, but the problem with that is that I didn't check your chromosomes before coming in here and calling you a man, and you didn't check my chromosomes before coming in here.
Or genitals.
Or genitals, calling me a woman.
So first of all, you can't give me a definition without using the word woman.
That's a functional definition, yeah, sure.
You should have a functional definition for the most important question in civilization,
No,
right?
functional definitions are a definition that is by the function of something. So like, for example,
No, there's an objective
equals-
definition.
So we can see in this video Charlie Kirk take on a prescriptivist position. He even uses the word objective there, which is pretty interesting. Whereas Pixie took on more of a descriptivist position. As she was saying, she defines a woman as someone who fits the kind of social understanding of what a woman is. So the big question then is, which one of these ways of thinking is correct? Well, the maybe unsatisfactory answer is that neither of them are objectively correct. Instead, what we should be asking, in my opinion, is which one has more use to us as a society. One big advantage of prescriptivism is that it keeps things simple and easy to communicate, as opposed to descriptivism, which often has people arguing over which definition is right, based on where and when they grew up. A big disadvantage, however, is that it doesn't actually reflect how people talk in their everyday life. It's kind of like an old person insisting that gay means happy. Now, it may seem that I'm bashing on prescriptivism a bit, but I actually think it can be very useful, since the way people use words in their everyday life oftentimes isn't very meaningful. For example, people often say socialism to refer to welfare programs or when the government controls things, but it's important to stick to the textbook definition of when the means of production and distribution are owned by the people as a whole, or we risk losing the idea completely. Kind of like how with literally, it's now just used to add emphasis, even though we already have a million words for those, but no other words for literally. Anyway, what we can see is that prescriptivism and descriptivism both have their uses, and it's important to understand them so we can use them intentionally and recognize which one other people are using. Number 3 is to understand idealism and materialism. In short, idealists generally believe that the world and material conditions are shaped by ideas, whereas materialists believe that the world and ideas are generally shaped by material conditions. For example, an absolute idealist would understand World War II is happening because Germans got pretty mad about them losing World War I. They weren't really great people, they kind of hated Jews. So they voted in Hitler, who was also a pretty bad guy, and then he killed a bunch of people because he wanted to. Whereas a materialist would understand World War II is happening because there were a bunch of empires in Europe all vying for power. Eventually this culminated in a large conflict. Germany lost the war, there was lots of economic hardships. People were considering maybe revolting against the state, and it was in the ruling class's best interest to use the power of the state to suppress certain things that were a threat to their position, especially unions and revolutionary parties. And for that, they needed a way to justify this to the people, which is that we're under attack by a scary group from within. We need a strong government to protect us and save us and make us strong once again. So in my opinion, materialism is a lot more accurate at describing the world than idealism, because we live in a society that is so complicated and interconnected and determined by so many things outside of our control. Although that's not to say that an individual can't have any impact on the world at all. Something important to take away from this video is that political philosophy, which is what we're talking about right now, is pretty much just morality applied on the scale of a society. And to understand morality, you need to watch this video. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or criticisms. And frickin' demolish that subscribe button. And I'll see you later. Thank you.